Imagine a world with humans that have stronger immune systems, overcoming cancer and other terminal diseases with ease. A world where people can erase genetic disorders from their children and even the rest of their bloodline altogether. A world where people can choose what traits and characteristics they want to have in their DNA. This is the powers that genetic engineering can have in the future. Genetic engineering is a wonderful thing that we have created, and its multiple uses in the present day, like therapy for cancer and genetic disorders, have only proven that this powerful tool will grow and mature into a special field of scientific advancement that will change the world and human society. Well, you may be wondering, how does this genetic engineering work? Well, in present technology, scientists use gene-altering technology like CRISPR to alter DNA pairs or insert a certain trait into the DNA to change the makeup of that organism. In our case, human beings. There are two types of genetic engineering that can be done on humans, somatic and germline. Somatic engineering is a process of altering DNA that cannot be passed down in reproduction. It is most often used in treatments like sickle cell diseases and HIV. Germline engineering, on the other hand, is altering the DNA in cells that are involved in reproduction. Although all these uses sound great, many people have expressed their fears for such a technology. Many of these fears that these people have regard are in the future of this technology and the capabilities and its side effects. The first claim that many will say is that genetic engineering will cause modern-day eugenics. Eugenics, by definition, is an 1860s concept that is a forceful effort to cleanse or shape the gene pool into a certain way that is desired by governments or political groups. This was seen with Adolf Hitler in the Holocaust, as he was trying to make a superior race of individuals and to weed out anyone they thought of as inferior. This idea of a modern-day eugenics will not happen if genetic engineering becomes advanced enough, or even a slight possibility for it to happen. Because if this technology is widespread enough, as it should be, not one political group or government would be able to have total access to it to start a eugenics campaign. And if genetic engineering becomes commercialized for most people in the world, many people will choose features in the DNA that they want, but this will mitigate a bunch of risks associated with the possibility of eugenics. Another fear that has arisen from possibilities of genetic engineering is that people will be trying to play God with their genetics and other people's genetics. One example is that parents will be turning their children into commodities rather than precious gifts. Although this may sound true, the reality is that parents already control their children's actions and freedom in the modern day society. So changing the genetic code of the child will not be that much different. Parents already control major decisions in their children's life, like schooling. In the future, once the children turns 18, they'll have full control of their body and genetic code, just like how in the modern day, once kids turn 18, they can get tattoos or go to clubs or bars and be recognized as an adult. Another worry is that this will create a world of discrimination and exclusive availability. Some argue that this will make a society where people are defined by certain classes with the quality of the genes that they have, and the wealthy will rise to the top. Although the wealthy were probably the ones that access technology first, I think it will span out just like any other technology, like cell phones and airplanes. The prices will start to drop as it is made more available, and it will grow out to more undeveloped nations and become more affordable to everyone. Throwing away innovations just because they're not readily available to the general public is never a good idea, as we will not have any of the technologies we would have today if that was our ideal. And of course, a good way to stop any potential issues from happening with new and innovative technology is to make strict policies to implement in society, so none of the aforementioned dangers can happen. Governments can implement some restrictions on what the scientists can or cannot do to the customers, like mess with their genes to give them superhuman capabilities, like increased strength or intelligence, or even for giving consent policies to children who are to be subjected to genetic alteration. The restrictions will also become less and less strict over time, as many people will become comfortable with genetic engineering and will be more open to practices that we may see as unethical today. Many technologies were like this, including airplanes, as I mentioned earlier, and new medicines like vaccines. Genetic engineering will probably go a route from more traditional values like medicine and curing diseases to a more experimental and commodity-based system like adding desired genes in a person. And from these new potential advances and new uses, genetic engineering will provide a number of support and benefits to all of humanity. One thing that it could provide is treatments to genetic disorders and many diseases. This branch of genetic engineering is called gene therapy and is used today. Researchers today say it's a promising subject that can be key to treating and curing many diseases like cancer, cystic fibrosis, heart disease, diabetes, hemophilia, and AIDS. And even further down, we can stop rare diseases that form in embryonic stages like Down syndrome or Huntington's disease. This will also eliminate future genetic disorder carriers, as the people who be treated will no longer be able to pass it down to future generations. This will lead to a healthier human population with less diseases that degrade the quality of life for most. Another reason genetic engineering will become viable in the future is the potential for it to become a profitable area of investment. When it becomes mostly acceptable and doable with minimal risk involved, genetic engineering will turn into a commodity. Things like adding desired traits for paying customers will become like buying an expensive piece of jewelry. Adding speed, intelligence, strength, and even changing your eye color will become something to work for. Of course, policies and restrictions will be involved for those who have these traits, like sports. During the early stages of this, where not everyone will have improved traits, many sports leagues will probably restrict those who are genetically improved to remove any unfairness in their games. Beauty is another area this new genetic commodity will probably touch, as people will change their hair type, eye color, even melanin levels to fit beauty standards. But you may be wondering, won't beauty become irrelevant if everyone has these desired traits? I think beauty will just change and evolve as it always has, and the trendy traits will become less desirable as beauty standards change. Overall, a new business will arise from genetic engineering, and people will be able to change their own bodies more than they ever have before. With all this being said, it should be clear now as to why genetic engineering should not be debated as much in society and should not be banned or heavily restricted in the future. With all the progress and research going into this field of science, I'm sure some of the stuff I've talked about will become a reality in our lifetime. With that being said, I'll see you all later.